Hello, hello, testing, testing, hello.
At what time you are starting? It is already 11:29.
11:30, sir. 11:30 we are starting.
Yeah. At what time you are starting? It is already 11:29.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay.
We'll start, sir.
Yes.
Good morning. Hi, on behalf of Ministry of Education, AICT, and MHRD Innovation Side, I welcome all the faculty members and students across the country for joining for the second day activity of National IP Literacy Week, being organized between 15 to 23rd October as a part of Kapila Kalam program of IP literacy awareness. Today, activity is centrally organized activity by Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. We have two expert speakers with us. The first speaker of the day is Dr. Abhay Jere, Chief Innovation Officer of Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, and we have Dr. Mohit Gambhir, Director of Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. Now I request Dr. Abhay Jere, the Chief Innovation Officer of Innovation Cell, to address on importance of IP literacy initiative and why this particular initiative is needed in the country today. Sir, I kindly request you to address the participant today, sir.
Namaskar. Thank you, Alan Govan. I think we have with us our director also, Dr. Mohit Gambhir, and he will be speaking after me. So, good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to this session. As you are aware that yesterday, Honorable Minister for Education, Shri Nishank ji, launched this Kapila initiative, named after our beloved ex-president APJ Abdul Kalam, because Kapila has two meanings. It celebrates our ancient culture because we had Rishi Kapila ji, our saint, as well as Kapila stands for Kalam program on IP literacy and awareness. Our Honorable Nishank ji yesterday spoke about vision for India when it comes to education. He elaborately spoke about new education policy and emphasis of new education policy on innovation, research, entrepreneurship, and startup culture. He rightly spoke about creating this ecosystem within our educational institutes. As you are aware, new education policy is coming up with multiple interventions, not only at school level, but also at higher educational level, so that this culture of innovation and entrepreneurship gets systematically established and stabilized in our institutions. If you currently look at our education system, it is based on swallow and vomit kind of a system. Because you just go, you ratta the books, the chapters, and based on that, you just go ahead and answer, get marks, get grades, and move on. But this education system fails to deliver on problem solving skills, on design thinking skills, on creating solutions, building innovative products. Because this education system limits us to lower order thinking skills. There is a famous Bloom's taxonomy pyramid where it has 6 levels. It's a pyramid and it has 6 levels, which are called as different orders of thinking skills. And the lowest layer or the bottom layer is understanding. Hey, it's just remembering. Sorry, it's remembering. Means what? You just remember and then reproduce. You may understand it, you may not understand it, like a parrot. Then a layer on top of it, which is a smaller layer as compared to the understanding, is understanding. Means what? You just not only remember, but you understand what you are actually remembering. Then you have analyze, then you have implement, and then you have create. The create is the topmost small layer. What happens currently is our education system is confining us to these bottom 2 layers of remembering and understanding. But it is not pushing us towards analyze, evaluate, and create, which is also very important. Because if we have to survive in this global competition, then what we really need to come up are different ideas, different IPs. We have to create the knowledge. And if we have to create knowledge, then we have to move upwards in this Bloom taxonomy pyramid. And we believe that this new education policy is setting the right tone in that direction. As a result of this, we believe that the generation which will come out of this new education policy will be far more innovative. They have good problem solving skills. They have good design thinking skills. They will have good cognitive skills. But this implementation is going to take time. And shall we wait for it? No, we should start even working with our current generation, which is there in our school systems, and push them, educate them, train them on the skills which are extremely relevant for the survival. So about a couple of years back, Ministry of Education started this special cell called MHRD's or Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell. And through MIC, we are doing multiple initiatives. We started with the Smart India Hackathon, which has now become world's biggest open innovation model, where lakhs of students are participating. It is helping them in improving their creativity. It is helping them in their problem-solving skills. It is certainly helping them push towards or move on the path of entrepreneurship. We are creating IPs. We are creating new products which have commercial potential. But this is just one of the activity. We have to have a very, very holistic kind of an approach if we really wish to ensure that culture of innovation gets established, stabilized in our higher education institutions. So we recently, last year, we bought this National Innovation and Startup Policy for faculty and students, where we have given multiple provisions in this policy, which will enable students, faculties to do their entrepreneurship, to start their own startups, even while pursuing academics. I will request all to look into this policy very, very carefully, very, very thoroughly, and try ensuring that this policy gets adopted in your institute in letter and spirit. Because if we want to promote innovation, if we want to promote entrepreneurship, then we have to unshackle our institutions. We have to take them on the right path. We have to handhold them and tell them what is really important in this emerging world. And in this emerging world, if we really need to survive and sustain, then we have to emerge as fountainhead of groundbreaking ideas, groundbreaking innovations. If you look at various meetings, discussions happening, what do you see? We have large number of ideas coming from students. They discuss. But unfortunately, in majority of our educational institutes, there is no ecosystem to logically take these ideas forward. It's not that we are dumb and only ideas, great ideas, are coming to people living in Europe, China, or US. No, it's not that the case. We are equally bright. But what we miss is a logical roadmap to handhold and take a good idea forward and convert it into an IP, which we should say that it is our IP, this is our idea. Few months back, in one of presentations, it was completely on a different topic. We were discussing nationalism, patriotism, and so on and so forth. And at that point, I said on that forum that if we really wish to achieve the status of Jagat Guru, which we are aiming for, then we have to evolve as nation, which is based on economy, knowledge-based economy. We have to evolve as knowledge-based society, where society respect knowledge more than anything else. This is our civilization. And because of that, for centuries, we are respected across the globe. We need to get into that mindset again. And at that time, considering this, I had said on that forum that the best definition of nationalism or patriotism in the new emerging world where India is aiming for $5 trillion economy is creating your own IP. If you are creating more IP, it means you are more patriotic because you will be generating wealth for this country. Many times what happens is that in India, we are still in a mindset where an academician should pursue Saraswati and a businessman should pursue Lakshmi. But now we have to ensure that Saraswati and Lakshmi could be jointly pursued. And academicians are the best people to do that. And this needs to happen because, as I was talking yesterday, if you really look at idea generation in India as compared to China or US, then we are far behind. On an annual basis, China files anywhere between 14-15 lakh IPs. US files somewhere around 6.5 lakh IPs. And India, we file between 45,000 to 50,000 IPs. Just compare China and India. They are 15 lakh. We are 50,000. And this needs to change. And the primary reason why this is happening is because our higher educational institutes are not serious about IP filing. 85% of our institutes have never filed IP. I'm talking about higher educational institutes. So we want to change this. And that's the reason we launched this Kapila initiative. Because we wish to ensure that a great idea, even in the remotest college, should have a mechanism to take it logically forward. This mechanism should not just get confined to tier 1 institutions like IITs and NITs or IIMs, because only 0.1% of students actually study in these organizations or in these institutes. More than 99% of our students are in tier 2, tier 3 institutions. And the students who are in IITs or NITs are really not out-of-box thinkers, because they don't get admission on their ability to think out of box. They are in that institute because they know how to crack JEE. They have cracked JEE because they are in those, and that is the reason they are in those institutes, not because they are out-of-box thinkers. And we believe that even if you go to worst of the colleges, you will find 10, 15, 20% students who are really good, are capable of thinking out of box, but what they require is a national framework to showcase their talent, national platform, which will give them that stage, or as I said, platform to showcase their talent. So at MIC, we are trying to create these platforms through various initiatives. And I believe that this Kalam program, which we are working on, will be a major milestone in that direction. Because once we will establish this IP filing systems, culture, mechanisms in majority of the institutions, then these institutions will start competing against each other, even on that aspect. And I believe that once this competition starts, then we will have a large number of great ideas coming forward, getting filed, and eventually getting commercialized, so that our educational institutes will emerge as islands of innovation with great industry linkages, creating jobs, creating wealth for this country, and that will help us achieve this $5 trillion economy, which our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji is dreaming of. So I believe that this IP Literacy Week, Awareness Week, which we have started, and from tomorrow or from Monday, we will have multiple programs in this regard. The concept of IP clinic is also there to actually interact and solve your problems. We'll hope that it makes you realize the importance of this initiative. It will make you realize that you should join us, strengthen our hands in this initiative, and help us propagate this initiative in each and every higher educational institute in this country. So, Ellen, thanks very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to our institutes. And let's hope that together we will build up a community of students, faculties, management, organizations coming together, which are passionate about IP filing and taking ideas forward. I wish you great luck for this Kapila program, and I hope that the entire team is successful in taking this initiative forward. Thank you very much. Really appreciate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing your valuable time in addressing the faculties and students about the importance of IP literacy initiative and also different initiative of innovation cell. And also continuously thinking about the new schemes for the benefit of higher education institution faculties and students. Last 2 years back, you initiated an Institute Innovation Council, which is a brainchild of you. Today, we can see the fruit which has been benefited by the students. We have more than 7,700 plus institutions, and we have few lakh students and faculties benefited out of the program. Similarly, with your mentorship and guidance, and Dr. Mohit sir is there, with all your support, I'm sure our team will take this IP literacy initiative to the next level, and I'm sure the country will fulfill the dream of our Prime Ministers of 5 trillion economy. I'm sure we've all been working with it. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your motivational speech once again. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So next we have our next speaker with us, Dr. Mohit Gambhir. So brief about Dr. Mohit Gambhir. Dr. Gambhir is working as a Innovation Director in Ministry of Education, Innovation Cell, Government of India. Dr. Gambhir belonged to the first breed of techno-legal professions out of India with around 20 years of experience. By qualification, he is PhD in Computer Science and LLB, which is equal to JD equivalent in IPR. He is a seasoned entrepreneur and he has extensive work experience in IP space, primarily in patents by virtue of working with the world-renowned labs, universities and many Fortune 500 companies. He has 7 patents filed of his own. He is widely traveled and he worked with many international agencies of high repute in past assignment. So with us, sir will be sharing his rich experience with our faculties and students today. Sir, I request you as our topic on importance and scope of IP in academic research. So Dr. Mohit sir, I kindly request you to handle this session.
Mohit, you are not audible.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
And my screen is visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Jere, our CIO, for setting the tone right and kicking in everyone in the right set of direction that yes, what we have to aspire, what we have to achieve, and what is the importance of this long awaited program, I'm sure, which we not many people are aware, which we were trying to conceive and thinking aloud since past, rather, I believe, more than 1 year now. And a lot of deliberations happened around this program, Kapila, how it has to be taken forward, how it has to be moved on. And wow, what a wonderful name, as Dr. Jere has mentioned. So Kapila is like Kalam program of IP literacy and awareness. And on the different note, it also relates to Maharishi Kapila Vastu as well. So best of both the worlds, the Avishkaraks, the leaders, the innovators. And yes, that sets the tone for that why IP, what's its relevance, what has to be done. So I believe our country, we have a very rich heritage pool of IP. You know, we are very, very rich, but we are very, very immensely poor in protecting our rights. Maybe it has something to do with the, the culture we share, the background we guys are coming from, and it's like Vasudev Kutumbakam, share with everyone, share with everybody. Yes, that's it. We have to. We should. We should develop a collated system, a collaborative system where everyone come on board, everyone join on board, and everybody should join hands in making a strong ecosystem, but not at the cost of hampering our rights. Now, what I do mean by our rights as in something, as a collective, as a nation, what we have done, what we have achieved, and what we are aspiring for, it should not be taken for a ride just like that. A lot of efforts are being put in. The academic fraternity, which I'm sure many of you listening out here are participating bodies, our participating agencies, which join on board today. Thank you so much for listening and coming on board for this IPR initiative. So before we move on further with my presentation, and as Dr. Jere also pointed out, we are going to run this a week-long initiative. Today, we guys are here to set the tone. From Monday onwards, you will be having a mesmerizing ride, a brainstorming sessions, couple of them, and you are also going to hear from many of the controller of patent office as well, your issues, your problems, and you are also going to hear from the learned people of IP industry, the who's who of IP industry, that why we should focus for, why we should move into the direction of IP. Many institutions, many colleges, they are already doing it, but it's a real challenge to spread the awareness. I'm sure through MIC, which all of us has taken the responsibility of with you, along with you, that we will turn up, we will cultivate this, and we will turn our nation into the IP giant by filing more meaningful patents, getting them granted, and commercializing them, commercializing our IP, generating more and more revenues from our IP. If somebody is coming up, they should be aware of that this IP is already protected in our country, and if we are capable of affording it financially, so we can actually move on and filing the PCTs and in other jurisdiction as well. Now, friends, IP, IPR, the buzzword, I know majority of you, majority of our faculties, majority of our student fraternity or other in academia, people, now they are aware of that what it is all about. Today, I am going to set a trigger why IP is required. I am going to give you a snapshot with an overview of what is IP, very basic. And if you can say this is like a very basic first nascent class, like you people, the faculty members who goes to a very, very first lecture, and then you give the brief introduction of your subject, your syllabus, your talking points, but with few case studies so that the tone for another whole semester sets on. So I am setting a tone for another whole week. Moving on. It's like IPRs, why? And why they are relevant, why we need IP. As Dr. Jere mentioned in his talk, I am also going to show the infographics as well. And majority of you are aware of. 2017 WIPO data. China, you can see the figures, 13,81,584 patent application. United States, 6,06,956. India, 46,582. Approximately 68% made by non-resident Indians in WIPO. Now just imagine 68%, then 32% of this roughly comes up to 13,000 applications only by resident Indians. The size of our population, the size of innovators, the strength of our innovation, I'm sure it's not that poor. I'm sure it's not that bad. So the thing which we lack is, I strongly believe, one is awareness. Second is lack of a will. Third, financial reasons as well. I'm sure it do comes in picture. But we can collaborate, we can collate. There are a lot of funding schemes and enable. Even we are also like coming up the scheme which we launched, Kapila. We are also going to fund, and we do have targets and the details of which my fellow colleague, Dr. Elangovan, will over the course of period and next week. And this is the whole year-long program which we are going to run. We have set a very, very ambitious target, which I believe of getting 10,000 application file with funding support partial as well. So I'm sure we will be able to realize with all your support. Now coming to the number of publications. 2018 compilation of science and engineering indicators. US, we have 17.8%. China, 18.6% published, approximately 4 times as many articles published in India in 2016. Quality of research, just check it. Our publication, we stand at 5th position. Top journals, China and US, they still control. We have to move out of the notion, yes, we need to publish. We also need to publish research. And before moving down the publication or submitting to the paper, we, if it is a tangible thing, we should move and file for a patent at least. See, friends, in many talks, I tell to people, humanity is like a child, a newborn in a family. You or us, all of us, have to think it into that perspective. We take care of our child like anything, from all the weather, from season. We do, their seasoned health checkup done and everything. Why not for the ideas which are coming from our mind? That is our intellectual capital. On the contrary, just move out of the life form. House we built, we go, we file paper for, we get it registered. What for? Because we do feel like that if we do not get it registered, we do not have the actual right. Tomorrow, somebody else may come in and may take hold of, then how will we prove our ownership on that house, on that property? Then, my dear friends, why don't we do it for IP? Why don't we do it for intellectual property, which do carries similar weightage? It's a question for introspection. And I do understand. And now if we compare vis-a-vis to the physical property, vis-a-vis to intellectual property is filing, getting protection far more cheaper than getting a particular house. And if it is quality IP, we are able to commercialize it, we are able to license it, we are able to handhold do the tech transfer of it. I'm sure we can make multiple houses out of that. But over the course of time, we need to learn, we need to enter into that phase, enter into that shape. And why I'm telling you all this, because I have been part of such wonderful experiences, like getting, and I many a times tell people, those who are listening, that it is my dream to have do the IP auction at a large scale in India, where people can come in and they see that what kind of a patent, what kind of a technology it's coming in, and then you come over and bid for that IP and then take over. That will actually bring in a lot of revolution. For you, for your eye opener, though I have taken it from internet, many of you must be aware of some of the path-breaking innovations, research, patented, which came from the university system. The seat belts, which we all carry, in our cars. Internet, which we are using. Just imagine if internet would not have been there in the time of this pandemic. what we would have done. Periodic tables, the chemistry, the savior of all of us, university setups. Rocket fuel, the Gatorade, that is the health drink, came from University of Florida. Then flu shots, chemotherapy drugs, CAT scan, solar panels, ultrasounds. This all, many more research it's coming out from university setup. See friends, it is high time in India, we have to upscale our university research in such a manner. Industry should come to university and asks for what new, what novel you guys have developed so that we can take to the industry. I believe it's high time. We have to move into that direction. Industry should see the way forward from the university research. It should not be such that universities or our academic institutions, we are saying that, okay, our students will get job in XYZ company because they are the companies we are aspiring for. We have to come up with that kind of a model. Industries, universities, all of us should join hands. We have to invest heavily in our research-based system so that we can certainly scale high, we can move high. Few figures, few snapshots, total license revenues. Now, why I tend to bring in these figures in front of you? Again, eye-openers. Few of the university setup, and I have written in front in the bracers that what kind of research or what is the product that came from them and they got the revenue share. Northwest University, $1.3 billion, anti-epileptic drug, licensed, they're getting it revenues. Arthritis drug, NYU, 1 billion. Moving down, and you move on, you see the revenue. So the seeds which are we guys are trying to nurture down the line, 4, 5, 6, 7 years after, we will be looking at few figures out here coming in from Indian universities, which may again show what the path forward. In 91, there were 1,307 US patents issued to universities. By 2014, there were 5,898. I'm not talking about filed patents. I'm talking about granted patents. In 91, the gross patent licensing revenues for universities, it was very meager. And by 2014, the revenue scaled up to $2.2 billion. Isn't it like an eye-opening figure? Something we can see that how this industry is evolving now in India, how the time it's reaping and we can reap the fruits in India. Overview. As we see the figures which has already been given, again, I have tried to put in the graphical format. You know, if you look around 2018 data, left figure, we have already shared the details. China received 46.4% of all the patent applications filed worldwide. Look at the figures. Look at the rate which resident Chinese population and non-resident Chinese population they're finding. See the difference if we move on. See the difference in the charts we move on. US, still, non-residents are more. Japan, a small country. Even the population, if we rate it, it's much lesser than our country. I understand even the intellectual population is much lesser, but still the rate of filing patents and granting the patents, see where we fall in. We are not figuring out even in top 10. Moving forward. Republic of Korea had the highest number of patent application per unit of GDP. Surprised? Now 1.5 resident patent applications per USD 100 billion GDP for the top 10 original IP. Now see the figure. And if you now again look out, top 10 origin of the country, we figure nowhere. This is a trigger, my dear friends. The researchers, the faculty members, the students, we aspire for, we say that we are coming up, we are building unicorns. Why can't we come up with such strong IP that now instead of following the model which is successful in so-called Western world, we come up with models which are successful out here. We have the largest customer base out here, the second largest customer base. Companies aspire to come into this kind of a customer base and the population. The age group we people are in, it's high commercialization potential. So why the heck we are not doing it? It's not the point of just filing it. It's the point of filing meaningful IP, getting some sense out of it. Figures as released by our patent office. You can see the number of applications being filed, that CSIR is on top, IITs, NITs, DRDOs, ICAR, IISc, ISROs, HALs, and then the number drops down. And then we do have some university systems and setups coming in. But again, these are patents filed. I'm really happy that yes, traction is coming in. People are moving in. People are filing in. And due course of time, we have taken our patent office on board as well in our Kapila initiative. And those people are coming in. Few of the controllers has been told they will be deliberating not with us how to help the academic fraternity so that we can move on. Now, moving further, and the tone that today the purpose which I'm going to talk about, basic awareness of IP, benefits of IP. Majority of you must have listened in number of seminars which you guys have done, but I would be covering a lot of case studies that why, how, or what we should do this. As we all know, my dear friends, IP, it comes from your ideas, information, knowledge, the thoughts, something physical which we guys come up from our mind, from our brain. That is the intangible creations of the human intellectual capability. And from academic fraternity's perspective, it is something which has creative output. It is something which is a tradable commodity. Now we come up with inventions, brand names, source codes, songs, literatures, paintings, designs, whatnot, even the lectures which you people are delivering in your classes, all are form of IP. So I try to sum up with the broad 6 categories, like we do have copyrights, trademarks, designs, patents, geographical indications, trade secrets, the broader sense of IP rights, which we do have in various jurisdictions. So I'm not being very, limiting myself to a particular jurisdiction. These the broader sense I'm trying to highlight that these are the form of IPs. Trademarks to begin with, and I'm sure you must have seen many a times when you go to the market, many a times you look around some symbols, some signias, TM is written on top of that. Now TM is like trademark being filed, and once that goes through the typical patent and trademark office processing, the prosecution cycle, once it is successfully granted, then this R circle, which you guys can see on my screen, is awarded, and that is being written on that particular signage. Its validity is for 10 years, and it is the IP right which can be renewed indefinitely by paying or providing the annual fee over the years. Trademark infringement cases, and I'm sure many of you might have heard, might have gone through as well. PayPal and Paytm. PayPal just sent a notice to Paytm of using the two-tone blue and light blue, dark blue kind of a tone that they are sounding where they are revealing very similar looks and feel, so that it's a kind of trademark infringement, which is really looking out here. Then another one, which is Starbucks and Sardar Baksh, and it's like trademark infringement case was filed, and it was told to them, the Sardar Baksh coffees, that you need to change your name because it's typical misnomer. You look around the similarity, the misconception of people can get after looking at Starbucks and Sardar Baksh, right? And then now they have to change it, Sardarji's Baksh coffee. Now, again, very similar trademark infringing products if you look around. Belsri, Bilsri, Bisleri, Brisley, and I'm sure many a times you go around for tourist places, and some other in the market areas as well. And when you see in while you travel, people selling water bottles, and we generally do not notice, but when we have a close look, the kind of misidentification or the misnomer those guys have created, it's really horrible. And these all are trademark infringement. Now you can see on my screen as well, it's like Nike, just do it, or the Nika, must I make do it. It's, though they are for different products, but it's a very similar sounding and a similar resembling thing. Then McDonald's and then McDowell's. So you yourself as a novice can figure out the similarities, and that they are falling under the category of infringing products. Coming to the copyrights, it is a right given by the law that is for some literary and artistic work. For the copyright, the beautiful part is the moment you create something, you write something, maybe for your lecture notes as well, from that very moment it becomes your copyright. But to stop someone using your right, you need to register it, and that applies to copyright as well, that you have to formally apply for the copyright, and then you can circulate it even for your books, even for your I'm sure you all remember that when you write a paper and you submit it to some journal, every one of us, we sign a copyright form whereby we assign all the copyrights to the publisher, to that person. And if it is a book, then we have some royalty sharing mechanism. If it is a paper, we transfer the rights, and then that fellow, the publisher or the journal house, they generate the revenue and they earn it through our copyrights. So some system needs to come up, some system needs to be developed over there, that how and why. And you guys end up, even or rather all of us end up after some free copies paying for our own papers. So I believe some system is sluggish, some things they need to change, but copyrights, again, coming back, it ranges from books, music, sculptures, your computer programs, the algorithms we write, the databases, even the advertisement we make, the scripts, the serials, the movie stories, whatnot. These all comes under the category of copyrights, and that is generally awarded for the creator's life, in addition to 60 years as well from the date of the creator's death. It is being awarded. Few of the copyright infringement case, pretty interesting though, and very recent. Director of the movie like Gujarat Chaman, they moved to Supreme Court, and they tried to stop the release of another movie called Bala. And you can see the similarities, the stuff which is shared. Another movie picture, the image caricature which I'm trying to share is like here, a European artist named Flora Borsi has accused the filmmaker, and then see the similarities in the picture and even in the poster that has been made. It looks pretty much similar. That how we are trying to depict these copyright infringement cases. Even many of you must have seen that the fashion shows, even the designers, what the dress people design and they move on, they enter into a lot of copyright and these kind of litigations that the design has been copied, and the prints and other stuff has also been protected, and then people, they are refrained from using those designs further until and unless they pay or they license, or then they enter into that kind of an agreement. Again, moving on, we do have some kind of trade secrets which generally are not protected with some office. There is no some medium available because it is something which is secret to the trade house, the trade secret. Coca-Cola formula. They have not shared it to anyone. It's their trade secret. Even the composition of your Maggi powder, Google search algorithm, these are all trade secrets. McDonald's Big Mac special sauce, KFC's 11 herbs and spices. So owner or the holder of these competitive edges, these trade secrets, they do not want to reveal it, and they never ever reveal it when that becomes their trade secret, because on the basis of that particular formula or the secret, they are doing the business year after year and then moving on. Trade dresses as well. Now it is about the visual appearance of the product or packaging. Like you see the Coca-Cola bottles, it is their trade dress. Look around this. If you recall, and during our childhood days, we have the 200 ml bottles, which again re-released. The design of that bottle, again, being filed under the design category as well, industrial design or design patents. But again, these are trade dresses as well. They have a distinct look, they have a distinct shape, and even many of the, so it's not, it applies to this, all these kind of categories. You look around, even the cold drink bottles and even the fruits and even your water bottles which are coming in. So people, they try to file the design and then they procure it. That becomes a style symbol that this particular kind of a bottle belongs to this brand. In India, then again, we do have a concept of geographical indications. Really very interesting. I tried to collate from the source of our IP office the various geographical indications that are available in India. GI tags as in 2017 that has been awarded. It is like we do have from Karnataka 39, yeah, Uttar Pradesh 23, Odisha 15, West Bengal 14, Gujarat 13, Rajasthan 13, Himachal 7, and then there are so forth. And there are a couple of examples, like from Karnataka, you guys must be aware of. We generally call up that, okay, Mysore silk you buy and Mysore sandal soap you buy, or Kurg green cardamom. Then moving on, like from West Bengal, we do have Darjeeling tea, Nakshi Kanta, and Balachuri sari, and Rajasthan, we move on and we say from pottery of Jaipur, then Kathputhlis of Rajasthan. Himachal, we move on, we say Kullu shawl. Orissa, we say Konak stone carving. UP, we say Patan Patola, Lucknow Zarduri, and a lot of other things. And we do have Kolhapuri chappal as well, and Banarsi saris. So a lot of these people, now why these GIs are being protected? So to give the local artisans their dues, their rights, so that that particular place, that cluster can get the benefit out of this GI and make their livelihood. Overall ecosystem in that cluster can be developed in more robust manner, so that livelihood of those people can be taken forward in a more meaningful manner. Then moving further, I would like to lay some thrust upon designs. See, friends, in India, we call upon its industrial designs, and generally, and when we move to United States or other, we do talk about design patterns. In industrial designs, we do cover a lot of different artifacts and design, even like the figure I have shown. Tread design on the tire, vehicle tires or any kind of tires. We file a lot of designs, even your shoe design, the pram design of the cart of the kid, your general, the mattresses, the threads, your cot, everything we can file a lot of design, your jewelries, furnitures, and I already told you about the beverage containers. So a lot of things we can file under, even the specs I'm wearing, the watch I'm wearing. So design is always everywhere. We can move on and file the industrial design and even design patents in foreign jurisdiction as well. Example of designs I try to cover. I'm sure almost all of us can link with this very simple example, mobile case design, which we do carry. And yes, indeed, they are filed. They are also protected by many designers. So it's not as simple as that. I the design number as well over here. This is a typical US design. Your bags, their shapes, even all the cars, like they do file for design applications and design, industrial design and design patents as well. For all these cars and Porsche, you can see the difference in these vehicles. There is a slight and small difference, but these are all filed for industrial or design patents. Design infringement case. Now, this is a real case study that has happened. Apple and Samsung. Again, there will be one more case which I will be covering later on, and it's like Apple had the coverage for home button and round corners, and you know what? Samsung started coming up with this thing, and jury in the first trial they awarded $399 million in damages on the basis that Apple was owed all of the Samsung profits from infringing smartphones, even though the design patents covered only the portion of the product, but the sale coverage had to move on. In India, in my example, it's not there. If we look around, even in the IP, there is a very popular case of TVS and Bajaj. It's all about their bikes, particular technology. And if you look around, then one company was stopped, an injunction was laid upon to sell their bikes. Once and after a lot of deliberations, they were permitted to clear the lot, but they were not permitted to, come up with more production or for that particular technology because it was patented by another company. Now moving on to a patent. Patent is something which holds the prime value because it has the potential, commercial potential, and in patents, the utility patent is something which has the prime value. Other patents like even industrial design, and all other things they do have. But if you have a utility patent, as the name suggests, we do have different categories of patents, and in this patent space, we do have kind of multiple applications, like we have provisional application, non-provisional, divisional, continuation in parts, continued, and many more. But if we, and these are all part of utility patent application, and if you have the utility patent granted, that is something which has the real value worth for. And patent, it is, as the definition say, that exclusive right granted for an invention. And there is a formula which I generally recall that I was when I started my career 15 years ago in IP space. There's a formula known as PMMC. It says process, machine, article of manufacture, or composition of matter thereof, and that's how it says any tangible thing which is a combination of all these things, or which is something new and which has some further improvement scope that a person can file a patent for. Requirements for a patent: it has to be a non-obviousness, there has to have a novelty, it has to be a utility. Further speakers next week, they will be covering it in much more detail, and we have much more prolific speakers that how to do such, how to draft application, how to file the patent application. And again, I would like to tell to all my faculty members who are here, who are listening, who are, the basic philosophy is, don't worry about the techno-legal and the writing part. It's a specialist job. All of us must be aware of, we have that sense of responsibility. If that specialist is coming up with a draft, we should be aware of that, what that particular application should cover, and we should not get shocked about looking at the kind of language that is being used and which is typically techno-legal in nature. Patentable items, art, process, method, or manner of manufacture, machine apparatus or other articles, substances produced by manufacturer, computer software which has a technical application to industry or is used with hardware, product patent for food, chemical, medicine, drugs. So there are a number of ways, and why I'm trying to move on because I also do feel that time is of the essence. So in Indian scenario, the first patent, it got awarded. Then if you see, it's number 1 of 1856. It got awarded to George Alfred de Panning. And if you recall, in many years ago, or rather initial years, there was a ceiling fan which a person sits outside and used to pull the rod, and that fan inside the room used to move around. And so it was a pankha pulling machine which got awarded to George Alfred de Panning, and that became patent number 1 of 1856. Even the figure that has been filed for, and then de Panning moved on to file a couple more and get more. Some weird patents you can see on the figure, that someone intellectual came up with something that while animal is eating their food or something, their ears fall down. So that fellow came up with a mechanism or an assembly that their ears can be moved down and it can be hold, just like people take their hairs, and if the females or anybody who has a long hair, they can just tie that. So in a similar manner, some assemblies and other stuff. This is something really interesting. I'm sure you guys would be looking at very soon. Apple, they patent their iMac housed in a single sheet of a curved glass. It has all integrated keyboard, screen, and everything into a single pan of a bent glass. It would be really interesting to see and hold it when it's out there. Examples like for some Indian patents which we are looking up, and I'm sure this might be from someone out there, even maybe the audience as well. This is an IoT-based small irrigation monitoring system with AI screening for soil moisture. So it is about to give you a feel that very small things, even small mechanisms, small thoughts which you guys are building out of your labs, if you guys can actually come up with some novel thing that it can be filed for, and then it depends on the patent office, the jurisdiction, how it can be further processed and prosecuted, and how that novelty is captured. Trending innovations or rather inventions, this is first one is iMicro. If you look around, it's an attachment which actually adds an 800x microscope to our phone. It is a third-party zoom lens, and you can see the scale which we can see. So this simply is removing the stuff even to go and check into the lab. Our scientists who are in the field can eventually look at the micro detail of a particular surface. Another very interesting invention, Dolphy. I'm sure you will be holding it in your hand pretty soon. It is our next generation washing device. It has a carefully modulated ultrasonic waves. It oozes out, and then Dolphy, it knocks out all kind of dirt from your clothes automatically. Maybe a savior for bachelors and the homemakers who are busy, or for whom this is a very tedious task. It is going to might end very soon. Another Apple versus Samsung legal patent infringement that Apple got IP protection for their bounce back scrolling by one finger, or that zoom in, zoom two fingers. So many features they were copied by Samsung, and then some award was awarded by the jury. They hold it that it is right in foreign jurisdiction and the court. Uh, then there are some non-patentable items which I thought to cover. That obvious inventions, that is somewhat which we are driving for, which is obvious for any person who has skill in the art or little bit knowledgeable. If it's obvious, then it is not patentable. So it is patentable items are which are non-obvious. Now, inventions that are contrary to law or morality or injurious to humans, animals, plant lives, and environment, it is not patentable. Discoveries, no, and there are some category and classification which subject matter experts will be taking care of. Then method of agriculture, horticultures, they're not. Then arrangement of rearrangement or duplication of non-devices functioning independently, they're not. Further mathematical business methods, the algorithms, the method of playing games and different kind of presentations, inventions relating to atomic energy, biological processes. Again, these are not non-patentable. Now, what is the benefit of having these all IP rights? IPRs, frankly, they provide incentive to the individual for new creations, gives due recognition to creators, inventors, incentives for these, newer works, products, services. It prevents other from using, dealing, or tampering with his or her product. New products to the farmers and developments can be provided at low cost if IPRs being harnessed for. IPRs are genuinely necessary to simulate the economic growth. As being said, that to make our country Atmanirbhar, to make our country reach the aspiration of $5 trillion economy, as our honorable Prime Minister is telling us he's aspiring for. This is something I'm sure which we guys need to, all of us, it's responsible to work into that direction, work into the mode that we should genuinely, effectively work out and lay the strong foundation for. So I'm sure, friends, I would like to sum up over here, and Dr. Ellen will also be coming up to you with a lot of forms so that where you can submit your questions for our next week sessions, which are going to come, which Deputy Controller of Patent Office would be answering in. Anything need be from our end, from Innovation Cell's end, we would be glad to handhold, to help, to mentor you people. And that's it, I believe. So, IP has to become the buzzword. This is our endeavor. With your support, I'm sure all the stakeholders will join this journey and make our country proud, make it a more sustainable and inclusive economy. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Dr. Allen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your fantastic and eye-opening speech. Talking about the first patent, which was in 1856. Many of us are not aware of it, and thanks for sharing about it. I'm sure our participants would have been enjoyed because you have touched upon the statistics of different countries, how many patents are there. When you compare to that, personally, everyone should be motivated saying that we should also contribute with one patent, which will increase our statistics of our country also. And also you're talking about importance of IP rights and ownership, how we should take it. And precautions need to be taken while we are filing a patent. So on many more examples and many new innovations and IPs which have been filed. So from first 1856 to till current date, patents you have been demonstrated. I'm sure all our students and faculties who have been participating in this program would have been very much benefited out of this program. Thank you, sir. Thanks for sparing your valuable time in spite of many other busy schedules. Thanks for that. So all the participants who are there, we kindly request you to participate in all the 7 days activities. So this is the second day. We have 5 more days left out. So in each and every activities after that, we will share the Google form. You will be filling that Google form, and a small questionnaire is there, and a certificate will be issued to you at the end of the session once you have been participated. The complete guidelines will be given to you through our portal. You can visit our portal. We'll also share you those links shortly now after in the chat. And I request every institute to participate as you have followed an IIC calendar of activities. Here in the same, we are also driving this IP literacy week. You can fill those details through the forms and submit your report at the end of the program, so that it helps us to validate and provide appreciation certificate and participation certificate for the complete IIC institutions. Those non-IIC institutes, please register and you be part of IIC, and also you can also submit your report. Thank you once again, everyone, on behalf of Ministry of Education, AICT, and the Innovation Cell for sparing your time and participating in this program. I'm very sure you all would have been benefited from the talk of Dr. Mohit Gambhir sir. Thank you all. Thank you once again for the joining. I'll share you the link where you're supposed to upload the report and the details on it. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.